Welcome to Adventure, an e-commerce podcast that isn't just about numbers and profits. It's about the visionaries who have carved their path, navigated challenges, and left an indelible mark on the e-commerce landscape. Joining us today is Yoni Mazor. Yoni is the CGO and co-founder of GETIDA. Yoni began developing GETIDA after successfully founding and operating a $20 million yearly Amazon FBA business, selling fashion brands internationally. He frequently appears in media outlets such as Forbes, CBS, ABC, Fox, MSN, and INC to provide insights about the state of Amazon, global logistics, inflation, consumer behavior, and the economy. And he also comes with military intelligence experience, having served in the IDF Special Navy Intelligence. That's quite a resume. Welcome.
Thank you. I should have asked ChatGPT to trim it down a little bit. So,
no, well, I actually did trim it down, but I had to pick the best part. We couldn't leave any of that out. So welcome to Adventure. I'm going to ask you just a few softball questions here. I'm really curious. What is something that will become, or you think that will become obsolete in 10 years?
Oh man, obviously I'll connect again to the ChatGPT that I just hinted to. So a lot of the generative AI will alleviate a lot of the needs to, I guess, hire people who, proofread or ghostwriters and things of that nature. And now it's on the smaller scale. Maybe it's a few paragraphs or blogging, stuff like that. But think about whole books. People can really hone in into their ideas and their intelligence and their brightness, but it's sometimes very hard to put it into writing. So I have this amazing machinery now, this amazing technology that can really help you shine and bring out the best you have to bring on text using those instruments and innovations. So I think that will be exciting to see how creativity will find its way out through this new innovation.
That definitely sounds like me. I have the thoughts and I just need some gel to bring it all together. So
I don't know if it's just me. I guess it's also me and you. I don't know if the rest of you guys are watching or listening, but often in life I see the kind of things and I kind of walk around and I think, right, like daydreaming, and you get all these like amazing insights of life, of happiness, joy, work, and like you wish you could just capture that and deliver that in a blog post or a post itself, or sometimes like over time you collect them to chapters of a book. So hopefully, I mean, I never did it.
Yeah.
But now that there's these tools, it's I can just put a note.
When you retire, you could just start logging all of these into a journal every day, and then when you retire, we'll have a massive volume for us.
Yeah, share only good things. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. What's the last thing that you recommended to someone? Book, movie, platform?
Well, with my kids, we just saw we did a lot of Spielberg stuff. So we saw Indiana Jones, we saw Hook. So my kids, we're trying to, my oldest daughter is 10 years old, then I got an 8-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. So we're right now into a little bit of the films and Spielberg films. So.
Well, as an owner of the Indiana Jones box set, you're doing parenting right.
It helps also for me. I haven't watched these movies in probably over 20 years, maybe in 30, some of them. So it's really nice it's a nice throwback.
It is nostalgic, right? To share that sort of experience.
Relive life, but through their lens. It's very, very unique.
It is. That's great perspective on it. So we're going to dive into the deep stuff a little bit now that we, are kind of warmed up. I have to talk about your Special Navy intelligence experience. I have to think that that prepared you in some way, or the qualities that you possessed, lending yourself to that field, kind of also makes you how great you are in this field. So if you'd like to talk about maybe how that sort of aligns, that would be super interesting for us.
Got it. So just to put more perspective, the IDF is Israeli Defense Forces, right? Actually, we're interestingly enough, we're in the war time in Israel. So definitely a lot of weight for me to carry. Day to day. I also have my family there, but in Israel, the just for context again, we're a very, very friendly country in a not so friendly environment or neighborhood, to say the least, or Middle East. So what happens is, because of that, it's a small country. We have today maybe 9 million residents, right? Population. When you're 18, when you're basically out of high school, everybody has to go to the army to serve. It's a conscription. It's mandatory. So it's 3 years for men and 2 years for women. So they get drafted. So in that regards, I'm not special. All we all kind of carry the burden as Israelis. But the path that I kind of chose was a little bit different. So after high school, actually, I took a whole year off just to study Arabic, the language, because I really knew that I wanted to kind of more than use my muscles, I wanted to use a lot of my intellect and brain and help in those spheres and domains to the country. So I studied Arabic, from day, all day, from morning to evening. And then that allowed me to get all these processes and screening into the intelligence community in Israel and the army. And then within that, there was a special Navy unit that I cannot talk too much about, obviously, the content, but the general idea was that we serve on the vessels, the submarines, the missile cruisers, and the bases, army bases around. We're representing the Navy. That's in general kind of the role, which I thought was unique, different. We don't have a big Navy because we don't have a really big shoreline. Our shoreline is probably smaller than New Jersey's, where I live right now. Funny enough, in New Jersey and Israel, almost the same size, so I feel right at home here in America. I'm in Israel as far as away, I can be, from Israel, something like that. That's kind of the joke about New Jersey. So what happened was, I did a year to study, and then I got, into the roles I wanted. The first year in the army was very tough, I would say. It's all about structure. So first of all, you have to make the switch between a civilian life to a soldier military. That everybody does that. It's boot camp. So all of a sudden you need to kind of come to understanding that you are an instrument in a big machinery, and you got to take orders, because if you don't, you're locked up. There's really no way out. So a lot of discipline. You wake up 4 in the morning, 4:30. You realize how much you can do with time. They really distill that hard into you. So you wake up in the morning early. You got to clean the whole tent, sweep all the sand off, clean your shoes, clean the weapon, clean the bathroom, clean the whole base from top to bottom, and run around and just and do all these drills. It was very impactful, I would say. I
So I have
hated it.
to ask, do you still wake up at 4:30 in the morning?
Hell no. I'm traumatized. No. Today I'm balanced between I usually go to sleep like 1:30 or 2, and then I wake up around 8. So I do 6 hours. That's actually what the army trained me. They say that in the human needs about 6 hours to function well, and I still carry that 6 hour momentum. So instead of going to sleep at 10 a.m. waking at 4, I go at 1:30 or 2 a.m. and then wake up at 8 a.m. So the same routine like that. So yeah, that was really hardwiring into a military life. So that was kind of the first layer. So okay, I'm a soldier. I have an M16. I got my uniform. I'm all trimmed up. Good. That's kind of the first layer. And after that, after boot camp, they send us to basically almost like a track of a whole year. We had to learn a lot of more Arabic, much more, and to more granular level. So imagine that if coming into the army, I knew let's say if I compare it to English, I knew maybe middle school English, kind of level. Then they push you into high school and military grade, because when you listen to the other side, you're not listening to or following nice civilians reading newspapers. You're following
street language, colloquialisms, all of those things.
Yeah, I think about The Wire. I don't know if you ever saw the show The Wire, HBO. One of those. So a lot of those kind of elements, kind of honing on the other side.
This is fascinating, by the way.
Yeah. So so I remember in the when I was doing that, kind of yearly training, I woke up 6 a.m. So it was better the boot camp. But we started the day, the 6th day, we cleaned the whole place up, all the drills. But really, 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. we're studying hard. Like all the stuff, about the language, about structure, militaries, like a lot of information, and day after day, and I was shocked that I was able to absorb so much information, content. And then not only you become very good at absorbing a lot of content information, you're able to run into conclusions, kind of make analysis and conclusions based on them. So when I kind of drafted, I had the green uniforms, which is the general army colors. But when after a few months, I transitioned into the Navy role, where I got my white uniforms, which was very successful also with the ladies at some point. So that was
your whole motivation, right?
yeah, that was, and that never hurts. But and then we finally, after a year of training, we're able to start going to the vessels and the military bases and really do a role. So in short, we did a whole year of training, just preparing for the role, and then 2 years of actually performing on the role. So that was very now, I'm already like 20 years after that, realizing how much you can prepare yourself, right, in really high extreme degrees, and
Mhm.
to serving and doing something that is for me, it was like I do it not for myself, I do it for a greater good that I never saw, called my country. I like a lot of people I never will meet, and never, I never met, and never probably will mostly not meet, but it's a collective cause, and risk your life and all that stuff. It gave me a lot. So when I was doing the 3 years, I was like, I can't wait to get out of this, be free, grow my hair, and do everything. But in the perspective of time, I was a true blessing for me, because later on, when I went to school and into life, and getting married, starting a family, starting businesses, it was just, I look around and I feel like I'm a few steps ahead, because of everything that was kind of distilled in me with the Army.
So it sounds like it really gave you discipline, structure, sort of strategic thinking and analysis, and all of those things have kind of carried over into the success that you are now. Do you think that had you not taken that path, that you would have still ended up where you are right now?
Most probably not, because resilience. I also gave us a lot of resilience. There's no other choice. You got to make it. You got to do it. There's no alternatives, right? So,
Mhm.
in life, you can always say there's an alternative. Maybe I should, break down and give up. In Army, we didn't have that. So I was able to experience situations where I had no more choice, but I had to kind of, keep on pushing through, and I pushed through, and things kind of worked out all right. So it gives you this confidence level and resilience level that is unique and different, I would say. So in business, sometimes we have periods where business not well, when things are bad, it storms, right?
Mhm.
And times where you're simply not making money. You're just murdering money. So you put all this life and everything you put into this, you and your whole team and the whole organization, and you're losing money. You're burning money. So you
Right.
can't even take money home and eat, right? And you have children. So these things can be very, very scary and shocking to other individuals. Say, you know what? Here's my resume's up. I'm
Right.
cashing out of this. I'm moving out of this. But for me, meeting those junctions, I was like, I know I'll just do above and beyond. I'm a better situation now than I was in the Army. Here I was risking my life. Here I'm kind of risking finances. There's cycles. We realize there's cycles in business and economy, and you're just gonna hold on through until at the end of the cycle, hopefully we have that lift. And thank God it proved itself worthy in those junctions for me to keep on pushing through.
That's really interesting insight. I mean, we've touched on that with other people that we've chatted with, and that's definitely a theme that runs through most of the people that we've chatted with. But nobody before has said confidence. Usually it's like problem solving, but at the end of the day, it does kind of come down to confidence, preparedness, and what you're doing. Yeah, and that knowledge that everything is cyclical. And
I wanna expand on that confidence, because confidence is a very big word, but to distill it a bit further, confidence in what you're doing, meaning that you're delivering value, right? And that value has to be acknowledged. So if you're selling a product online, you really have to prepare I'm talking about the retail side. I start from the retail side. Now I'm doing solution providing side. We can expand on that more later if needed. But on the retail side, really kind of know your customer, know the product you're delivering compared to others, meaning the competition, and really truly know and believe that it's a better product for better pricing and better value and better experience and better everything. If that's kind of the true form, that's the center and core of confidence. If you don't have that and you're just building a confidence, just have confidence, but it's not really based on something true, it might not last or survive. So something when I'm in the military, the confidence is that we're an army, we're strong, we can fight, we can do all these things, and we're doing this for the better good of the country. It's delivering value to them. It's really saving lives. So that gives you a lot of confidence, right? Like a lot of purpose and intensity. But you have to distill it to your business and really hone on the cores of it. So the core fundamentals need to be strong and true and
mhm.
authentic, and that should carry you. Because if you don't have that, then I would recommend actually pivoting. So that's just
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Is there's so many tools out there to give us that confidence, right? Nobody's going to go into this blindly. If you do the work and you do the research and you source your product and you know what all the numbers mean and you are staying on top of your metrics, you should know and have that confidence of what's going to happen or what potential that you have. So, would you say that a lot of people give up too early in this business?
the ones that really have the data and know that they have something better going on and they quit. Yeah, I would say, whoever's watching or listening to this, it's all data driven. If the data suggests there's enough demand and not enough supply, you should probably fit there. for whatever reason you're not able to fit there, if it's finance, if it's personnel, HR, there's all these things in between that might not, distribute getting there or create friction. You got to crush those out. You got to persevere, because once you are able to remove all these friction points and really connect the dots, and the supply meets all this excessive demand, you're going to do well. You're going to have this climax, right? So,
and those are all things we have control over, right?
on the data side, yes, you could. That's what's brilliant and amazing on the Amazon selling side of things. The data, if you really see the data, it's all there. But you have all these human aspects, letting you go. You have to break them, and if you have that, do it. But if you don't, it's all hazy. You don't know what's going on. It just, you create a product that you're passionate about. If you have a patent on it, and there's really no evidence on demand, you're in a different domain. The domain is a vision. You're going to become a visionary. I'll give you an example. Let's take Amazon as an example. Jeff Bezos. Nobody ever did what he did before, right? There was eBay before that and stuff like that. But for 20 plus years, Amazon was just losing money. And he was on Wall Street. He was a public company. And and the stock kept on going up. How is it possible that Wall Street, that wants every quarter, right, to have, profits and dividends, all that stuff, he carried through because he saw the value. He didn't have all the data like concrete. He said, listen, I see internet's penetrating. And then he didn't know there would be smartphones, but when the smartphones came in, right, and then he saw, they can penetrate also to the smartphones, and that people like they, when he started, people, when you buy online back in the day, you didn't know who was on the other side, so putting a credit card, you had no idea.
Right.
He broke that apart. He saw that issue, that human limitation. He carved it out. Said this is gonna be a body which is well trusted. Who's on the other side. You get a product within a day or two, and it's reliable. And year after year, in and out, and tremendous success. So he didn't have all the data, but he had the vision.
Yeah.
Right. And things kind of follow through, and he became, hugely successful. So
it's crazy if you think about it now. I mean, Amazon is so ubiquitous, but back then, people probably were like, "Oh, you're
against all odds." It's against all odds. What he did was against. Yeah, it's once in a millennia. It's against all odds, where he's had the vision and the stars aligned. Internet really penetrated as he expected. And then smartphones came in. There was no guarantee of that. So now it's even more ubiquitous. You just, boom.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, with the click, you can have a huge catalog that has everything and very competitive pricing. And you're going to get it delivered. If there's any issue, you get refunded. So that vision that he had fulfilled itself in a very powerful way. In addition, I want to also add that that's just on the retail side. Then all of a sudden, he because the vision was so strong, it's set up at such a scale that gave birth to Amazon Web Services, AWS, the cloud services. So they, to have such a huge catalog with images and text, they had to, and all these listings, they had to create a big cloud, because you can actually see it, right? So this cloud was so efficient, and it was much more powerful than the actual needs of Amazon as a retail company. So they opened that up to the rest of the world as a service. And now, I don't know if people know this, but close to 50% of the internet runs on Amazon's clouds. Like Netflix runs on Amazon, AWS, right? Trello, probably Salesforce, all these big banks, CIA, FBI, they all, not only that it's fast and efficient, it's also very secure. So that became a really big cash cow for Jeff Bezos. So through the vision and the dream and all the infrastructure he created, a lot of other beautiful, great things happened to them, which he used to also fulfill the vision. So all this cash that he was made from cloud helped him stay in retail. Because if you separate just the retail, he probably would never make it. He would lose money.
He definitely was great at creating that synergy. And now I would file Amazon under, too big to fail, right? One of those institutions that are kind of too big to fail. It's so world changing if something happened to it.
Yeah, but the last connection I want to make is to you guys. This is BidX, right?
It is BidX.
Right. Yeah. So huge catalog, create a huge cloud, but and all festered to a degree that there's so many eyeballs on the platform. You're selling digital ads, and that's a hugely profitable, fast growth component for Amazon. I think right now it's delivering, over 30 billion in revenue for Amazon. Clean. Same infrastructure. They didn't really have to add anything. Just sell those slots and sell those digital real estate. So vision and intensity, and now there's beautiful synergies all around. So that's kind of the Amazon story, if I can borrow from there.
Well, you touched on, I think really what it is, he had the vision to anticipate trends and needs. And so I think that's a great segue into some questions that Joe has for you.
Yeah. Just building right off of that. getting a little bit familiar with GETIDA and getting into it, it seems like when you started there, like you said, there was a big need in the market for what you're trying to get into, and you obviously saw a problem. What was it? What's the baseline of what you built on? Because now you have your patented document management technology, and now all of a sudden you guys are able to create value for all of these FBA sellers. So
Yeah, so just to put everything in perspective, I'll talk a little bit about the mission, what we do, how we actually serve and help, and how this all generated and all started. I guess the evolution of GETIDA. So right now, GETIDA, we're a technology company, and our mission is pretty simple: it's to help Amazon FBA sellers get the maximum FBA reimbursements that they're eligible to receive. So if you sell on Amazon, you logistically have two options. You can store your own goods in your own warehouse. It's called FBM, fulfilled by merchant. You're the merchant. The other option is called FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, where you take all your inventory, you ship it to Amazon's fulfillment centers, and they do all the fulfillment. So, Jeanette, you send 1,000 units to Amazon's fulfillment centers, and Amazon, instead of receiving 1,000 units, they're only receiving 190 units. So 10 units are missing. So our technology catches that discrepancy. But then the information goes to our team. We have a dedicated service team. A big part of them actually worked at Amazon before those departments, the FBA reimbursements departments. They open a case with Amazon. They manage all the back and forth and provide paperwork if needed to reconcile so Amazon can investigate. If Amazon investigates and finds the missing units, Janae, you can sell and make money. No harm done. Great. If Amazon doesn't find it, it's deemed really lost and it's eligible for reimbursement. They provide that reimbursement. And only if they provide reimbursement, only then we charge a fee, right? A recovery fee. So just like that, it's free to join GETIDA. It's free to stay with GETIDA. There's no subscription. You can cancel at any time. It's purely performance-based. And that's just an entry-level problem that most sellers understand because it's very intuitive. I sent something, something's going missing. But what most sellers don't know, that's why this show is very important to educate the sellers actually a little bit more, is that once your inventory is inside Amazon's fulfillment centers, all of a sudden inside, units get lost, damaged, destroyed, disappeared, overcharged with fees. But it's up to you, the seller. The onus is on you to audit for that. And Amazon, inside the terms of service, there's gazillion things to do as a seller, from advertising to inventory management to sourcing. But also, this is one of those line items you got to do. You got to audit all the FBA transactions. And if you find any of these discrepancies, you got to show the data to Amazon. It will do its own calculation. And of course, if you're eligible, they'll provide you with the reimbursement. So this is kind of the task at hand for the sellers that they got to do. And typically it runs like 49th on the list, and they mostly never get to it if they know about it. On the flip side, most sellers are not even aware of it. There's so much going on. It's so convoluted with Amazon. So GETIDA, we kind of raised the banner saying, hey, this is an element that you got to consider because statistically speaking, the discrepancy rate on an annual basis ranges between 1 to 3% from your revenue. So if you do $1 million a year on Amazon, 1 to 3% is $10,000 to $30,000 you need to recover a year.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. That was going to be one of my questions for anybody that's new to selling that's listening to this. This is not a fluke. You might think that, oh, it's rare when this happens. So just to point out that this is not a rare thing. This is just one of those other things that I'm sure you're going to have to deal with at some point as a seller, as well as, you may only have 10 products now, but when you start scaling up, it's virtually impossible to keep, track of all of this. So that's where you guys come in.
Yeah. So, there is a margin of error, but for every seller, because another way to look at it is for every 100 units shipped to Amazon's fulfillment centers, between 1 to 3 units is going to get affected with an issue throughout its lifetime. So once again, the onus is on the seller to kind of audit, find that, and reconcile. That's where we can come in and provide a solution that is very comfortable, because once again, purely performance-based, no subscription. So, but also it doesn't have to be us or you, the seller. We're very customizable. So we do encourage and educate the sellers how to do it themselves, so they can do as much as they can on their own. We encourage that. And then whatever they're missing out on for whatever reason, we can come in as a backup. So if something was missed out, we can back it up and only get rewarded if we're successful. So it doesn't have to be us or them. It's together. It's partnership. So always create a kind of a win-win situation. So that's kind of where we are right now. A few more points on that is that we're the largest organization in the world focused on this mission. We have a team of 240 employees in 12 countries. We audit tens of billions of dollars of transactions every single day for our user base. Plus, we're authorized by Amazon. So Amazon has an service provider network. We're there. There's also a software provider network. We're there. In addition, we're also part of the Amazon Emerald program, which is a unique new program that they created a few months ago. There's only 10 software companies out of, I think, 5,000 on the marketplace that have this status. So basically now we live inside Sell Essential. So once you log into Sell Essential and we have a notification for you, we're going to send it to you through Sell Essential.
Beautiful.
So for example, if we try to call you, you're not responsive. You try to email, you're not responsive, but we know we can get you, let's say, $30,000 in reimbursement for a certain thing, but we need you to provide some info. Boom, we can ping you through Amazon. So we get that another layer of communication to create a better impact for you.
Yoni, if you were emailing me saying you were going to get me $30,000, I would respond to that email.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. I mean, you'll be your jaw will drop. There's some, I mean, good for them. Some sellers are so big in scale, they're doing tens of millions or hundreds of millions. And they're just constantly so busy. When you tell them, there's hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions.
Yeah.
I want it, but they never get to it.
Well, just, maybe they can mark me as a beneficiary, and I'm happy to sign by proxy for them. Not a problem.
Yeah. And what's mind-boggling for us is just a few clicks away. They don't have to really do much. A few clicks, they set up, boom, we're good to go. But so kind of that's what we are right now. I guess the mission and scope. But GETIDA was born. We didn't have an epiphany. So what happened was we created, actually, the GETIDA was born from our own needs as sellers. We don't sell on Amazon anymore, but in short, we started selling online more than a decade ago. We sold on our website, then eBay, then on 2013 we started selling on Amazon. And then the business grew very quickly from 0 to 20 million. Then we actually became a part of a larger group that together as a group, we were doing about 100 million. And what happened was we had so much data to process, to reconcile, because from day one, we knew about these issues and we constantly reconciled. But we came so much scale, we're in so much data, we were not able to use spreadsheets anymore. They were breaking. And that kind of forced us to do two things. The first thing was to create software and technology so we can audit all these transactions at scale properly. And the second thing was to set up a dedicated team to constantly resolve just this. That's the only purpose. So use the technology and a dedicated team to solve the problem and to create a solution for ourselves. And we did that. Okay. We're friendly people. So we told our friends from the industry that we have these capabilities, and they told us, help us, we'll pay you. And that was the aha moment, or the epiphany moment, or, the genesis of GETIDA. And then over the years, it just grew organically from word of mouth because the value proposition is very simple. It's performance-based. Every time you get paid, we get paid, actually, the seller gets paid. So it's a very comfortable equation for the sellers, because it's funny. Some of my clients, they tell me, you're the only bill that I don't have to babysit, because other bills you have, like, did I use it and I use it? Should I keep it? Should I cancel it? All these things, right? So many people have. So yeah, that was so over the years it grew organically, and then 2019 we made a strategic decision to cash out of retail. And then focus, we took all of our profit we made and focus all of our attention, motivation, energy, and creativity into one place instead of two places. And once we did that, that's when we kind of took leadership on the niche. And, we came to the scope and scale, as I mentioned earlier. And for us, it was a very big junction, because when we had two businesses, retail and solution providing, the honest truth was that retail always came first. So when I ship $1 million to Amazon and has an issue, that comes first before any GETIDA client.
Right.
But once I detach from that, GETIDA clients is always top priority. Once we position there, all the intensity that we had, all the thrust we had was really placed into one place instead of being split into half. I always say it's like trying to, run 3-4 Olympic races all at the same time. It just, if you just settle one course, and run it, you'll probably get, you have a better chance to win it, and the gold medal, or take leadership or something like that. So that's in a nutshell the evolution.
That's definitely a common trend, with all of the founders that we've spoken with. Like you said, it wasn't an epiphany. It was actually a problem that they were challenged with, or a blocker. So thankfully, Amazon had so many challenges that it's created this whole other ecosystem of industry behind it. Joe, I think you had a follow-up question now.
Yeah. And just kind of building beyond that, just past the scale of GETIDA, excuse me, is
by the way, you can say it anyway. It's an acronym. You can say GETIDA. The actual acronym stands for Get Idea, which is Get Intelligent Data Analytics. Like Geico. We say Geico. I don't know if you know the insurance company here in America.
Yeah.
Geico is Government Employee Insurance Company. It's just an acronym.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, anyway,
I'm going to add that little tidbit in our newsletter.
Yeah, but I call it GETIDA. It rolls better on my tongue, but GETIDA definitely works.
That's awesome.
So yeah, with 2024 rolling in soon here, there's obviously a lot changing in the Amazon marketplace. You touched on the overall growing trend of Amazon with advertising and they're expanding into putting their products onto Snapchat, onto Pinterest, kind of everywhere. What are you seeing as like the big macro trends within Amazon the next year?
Macro trends. So every year brings its own, I guess, complexities and dynamics. Last year, when I was asked this question, inflation was a big thing. So we're all kind of trying to look forward how hopefully inflation, decreases. And I think this year was successful. I guess the Federal Reserve and the whole macro economy, they put all the interest rates up, and that created the right pressure to on the demand to kind of reduce itself, and inflation is going down. So that's a good part of the trend. Now, the question is, how is that going to reflect on consumers? Because, okay, prices are going down. That's kind of a problem for the retailers, right? Because the margin they expect it won't be, because the demand is softer. Consumers have, credit card debts, and the credit card debts are more expensive than a long time, because the interest rate went up. So on the macro side, we're in a junction. We know the Fed is trying to create a soft landing for the economy. I hope it's successful, and then we have kind of, I don't know, a quarter or two of kind of in between, but then hopefully things will start hopefully reducing lowering the interest rate. And if you do that, that can definitely jumpstart the economy and the demand again. And this can come within a quarter or two or three for 2024. So I'll be on the lookout for that on the macro level. And then AI is big. So Amazon also announced that they're distilling AI tools within Sell Essential, namely when you create the listing, it will help you kind of create a better listing on the image side. So you can take any product that you have and then kind of say, hey, I want this product to be on the table from wood with 5 chairs around, with the wall being this color, boom, boom, boom. It generates it, so you don't have to pay expensive studio, right, to come and do that. So and make it high quality. So that would be an interesting trend to see and follow, how sellers use all these tools to enhance their listing and the experience for the consumers, and maybe give more chances to the little guys to win, because the big guys are on Amazon. We have a lot of resources already delivering that quality. But if you level the playing field, it'll be interesting to see how that affects the small to medium sized Amazon sellers. So hopefully that's energy and encouragement for the sellers here. On the ad spend, inflation is still there. It just constantly growing, especially on the core ones, the PPC and pay per click on the tech side. But Amazon is opening more layers of opportunity within the ecosystem, and I think those new layers, like the streaming TV, or what else they have, what's it called? You guys are more bigger in advertising. It's called DSP, right? A demand side platform. So all these ventures you can try out, and maybe potentially in a very cost effective way, experiment those spending, because you find that you might have a good click, and you get better results there, or additional results there. So sellers will have to simply expand out their budgets into those new realms to see if there's any opportunity, a good opportunity store for them there, I would say. And then and the best way to victory is constant improvement over time. The Japanese, they call this Kaizen. So constant improvement over time. Whatever small elements you can improve over time, all of a sudden, you're going to look back, you're going to see a big a gap there. Honda, Toyota, they mastered this kind of procedures. And so I touched the advertising, I touched generative AI tools, the macro economy. So hopefully these kind of elements that sellers should be on the lookout for, and try to improve themselves through those dynamics.
Great. Yeah, a lot of good info there. And I totally agree with you on the Amazon side with, putting in more things into Seller Central and really try to even out the playing fields. I feel like that's essentially what they're starting to get at when they first introduced all the sponsored placements, and they're really touching on it more with, being able to generate AI sponsored brand posts. And I think that people are really going to love that. I know I've loved experimenting with it. It's only going to grow from there.
Only way is up, hopefully, yeah.
Well, that is great insight. So you heard it here, whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned seller, lots of tools out there to help you. Definitely not passive income, right, Yoni? But the data
Very
is
active income, yeah. At least for me, I never had a passive moment in the past decade. So yeah.
Oh, come on, your first million, you were just sitting in an armchair drinking your Coke, watching the money roll in.
I actually did a Coke rehab. I haven't touched a Coca-Cola since 2016 August. I was drinking so much of it, so I would say that the first million was made with no Coke.
That's
Post Coke, yeah, something
definitely
like that.
not sponsored by Coke here.
Yeah.
But great insights. We are about out of time. We always finish up with one last question since this is the Adventure podcast. What is the most adventurous thing that you think you've ever done?
That's a tough one. Real quick, after the military, 3 years, I went to South America. I traveled for 6 months. I did free fall skydiving. That was 30 seconds free falling. And then I did bungee jumping. I did white water rafting. I climbed glaciers. So put it all together, it was pretty good 6 months. Yeah.
Wow. We asked for one thing and you gave us like 6. So
Costco deal. You got a Costco deal.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like more information on GETIDA's reimbursement program, you can go to GETIDA.com and hit subscribe on the Adventure podcast for more exciting interviews coming up. Thank you so much for joining us, Yoni.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.